Hello, Marshall Salem here with Home Options Made Easy of Texas. So, as I explained previously, owner financing is a solution for buyers that cannot obtain a traditional mortgage today that are looking for home ownership, where the seller acts as the bank and finances the home to the buyer. Now, many people ask me, Marshall, how long will they finance the property to me? Well, the answer is not that simple because it really depends on the seller's situation, the buyer's situation, and ultimately how long it would take the buyer to obtain their own financing. So here's a little tip that we like to provide all of our clients when they're getting ready to purchase an owner finance home. We talk with the lender. We find out from the lender's perspective how long it would take the buyer to obtain their own financing. Once we know the time frame that it would take for a buyer to obtain their own financing, we know what we can negotiate in the contract. Typically, with owner financing, the note is for 3 to 5 years, and very rarely we have done a 30-year note, but the majority of owner finance transactions are going to be for a predetermined period of time, after which time the buyer needs to obtain their own financing. So this is why it is very important to speak with the lender, find out what is preventing the buyer from getting a loan today, how long it would take for the buyer to obtain their own loan, and this way, when we're writing the contract for your purchase, we know exactly how long to write the owner finance note for. Now, one thing that I will let you know, as a realtor, whose job it is to protect you as the buyer in an owner finance transaction, we like to put a clause in every single one of our contracts that simply states if the buyer cannot obtain financing, let's say after 5 years, and can show proof of denial, the seller will continue to extend the financing term on a 12-month increment basis to allow the buyer to continue financing the property until they can obtain their own financing. Now, one thing that you may want to note is that if a seller is extending the financing beyond the predetermined, pre-negotiated time frame, the seller may negotiate to increase the interest rate, say 1%, for each year that you cannot obtain financing after the pre-negotiated term. So this is why it's extremely important for a buyer to know exactly what is preventing them from getting a loan today, how long it will take for them to get a loan. This way, when the contract is written, everything is negotiated to the buyer's benefit, and we can ensure that we have the proper timeline in place for a buyer to obtain their own financing. Now, again, this is Marshall Salem with Home Options Made Easy of Texas. We'll talk to you soon.